And then I saw the video. It's like I told you the other day, it's one of the most complete explain what happened during that landing in New Orleans. So it really, let's say, really not surprised me, but it really liked the way you did it and the way it was explained. That was really nice work.
First of all, Captain Carlos Dardano, it is a pleasure to have you here on the Mentor Pilot YouTube channel. Thank you very much for taking your time to come in and talk to me.
Well, thank you. The pleasure is mine, and thank you for having me.
But I was so surprised when you reached back out again, and I was so happy to hear from you, really. Did you have a chance to watch the video?
Yeah, I did. Matter of fact, you know what problem is that I don't see really all the contact that sometimes people write to me and send me some things. That was probably why it takes me so long, because I never really do go back to see each of the appointment or the request on my mail sometimes, because but then I saw you there, and it's interesting, and then I saw the video. It's like I told you the other day, it's one of the most complete explain what happened during that landing in New Orleans. So it really, let's say, really not surprised me, but it really liked the way you did it and the way it was explained. That was really nice work.
But thank you very much, because obviously when I do these type of videos, I never expected to actually be able to talk with the main character in the video live. So that's why I'm really, really excited about this. As you've seen, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of comments on that video, and every one of them are amazed about what happened on that day and how you and your crew dealt with it. What I would like to do is I would like to ask you a little bit about how you got into aviation, because you had an amazing 13,000 hours or a little bit more when this happened, and you were only 29. So you must have started really early.
Well, let me tell you something. My dad and my grandpa used to be pilots. So I started flying before really I started driving cars. I started flying. And the way we did it, my dad used to administrate some cotton plantations, and he had an airplane there. And then we used to go with him during vacation times and some Saturdays to go to the farming. So he used the airplane as transportation. Yeah. My dad used to crop dust. He started crop dusting when he was young, before he got married. So he crop dust for 18 years, and then he went into the administration part of the cotton plantations. And that's why I start flying a lot with him during like I say, some days on the week, some days on the weekends, up to the point that when I was getting ready to become a senior guy, I already had 325 hours, because I've been flying with these guys and doing some parts deliveries on everything with the farming. They used to have 3 or 4 different places in the country where always was something to do, sending parts, sending money, going to the farming and all that. So that's why I got my license in 1975. By the time I was a bachiller, I was a senior high school graduation. Yeah. And that asked me which way I was going to do. So I say, okay, I love it. And the only thing that I like to do is being a pilot. So he sent me to Pro Flight in Vero Beach, Florida. So I got so lucky that I went and I started flying with him personal way. And I did all my training with him. And it just happened to, we did the check ride for the private, really. And then I flew 40 hours on the instruments because I need to fly them. And then I did 5 hours on the Twinkie and Twin Comanche. And he sent me to the check ride for the multi engine for the on the Twinkie. There I got my commercial and come back to El Salvador. So I start flying the twin engines, the Navajos, and all that. And we used to go Guatemala twice a day. And then 1978, 1979, the Somoza, the Nicaragua deal started getting really hot. But that time, CNN or whatever the news were, they didn't have a satellite communication and all that we have right now. So we used to fly them to Nicaragua. Every day I'm bringing all the materials from Nicaragua to El Salvador on a daily basis.
How old were you when you just finished your license?
Well, when I got my license, that's I'm 58 from 58. So 75, 16 years old, or
Yeah.
15, 16 years old.
So
And you know what? You know what? My dad say you better take some aerobatic training during your private license because you're crazy and you're gonna kill yourself. So you better learn. You better learn how to do things. If you kill yourself, at least you know what you're doing. It's different. You try to do something and you never had some training. So that's the way we did. I flew some aerobatic time during my private license, and I used to fly the Cessna aerobatic.
what stuck out to me obviously was how you both how you lost your eye and how you retained your medical and how you could continue to fly after having losing your eye. So do you want to tell me the story about how you lost your eye?
Yeah, this is what happened. I went into TACA and started flying as a flying engineer. The problem was that I didn't get to fly at all in those days. Okay. So I start and they start training me for the Electra on flying engineer position on the cargo Electra. Worse, okay. Can you imagine me studying all that Electra and flying engineer, and you had to be flying with those guys at that time. They were Captain was an American guy and the co-pilot an American guy, and then we were sitting on the jump seat, no, on the flying engineer on the Electra. So we were training for the Electra and we fly the 737. I got kind of like I want to continue flying, but that time I already had bought my first airplane that was a Mooney N20C model, and because all the issues that start going on in the country with the guerrilla fightings and all that, the air taxi business start picking up. So I put my airplane into this company to fly some taxi business. So that was the way that I lost my eye, because that day I was off from the airline and I was coming to this place, and I was supposed to do a taxi from El Salvador to Tegucigalpa. And that day I came early and they say, well, there is this flight just to take these people. That was 25 minutes away from the city. And when we got out of the airplane, nobody was on the runway. And I say, I don't like this. Then I told the people, say, let's put everything back in the airplane and let's take off, overfly the campamento where the office were and all that. That it was like a 2 or 3 miles away from the runway and wait for the people from there, security and all that, to come back and be here at the runway. And then we land and you stay here and I leave. On this airplane was a little Arrow, Piper Arrow,
Yeah.
low wing airplane. So I start getting into the cockpit. When I was getting ready to go into the cockpit, the lady told me if his son can go pee. I say, oh yeah, okay, go ahead, do it. So I put my arms and my face this way over the top of the fuselage. Okay, here's the way to go into the cabin. And I was just waiting like that. And I looked at the clock and it looks 2 minutes to 8. So I say, okay, let's go. When I say, okay, let's go, and I turn my face, the bullet just went through my face.
Oh my God.
Okay, with no any arbitration or nothing. And when I turn around and I say, okay, let's go, the bullet went through my face. So that got me into over the wind, blew me up, and I land by the fuel cup of the fuel tank on the wind,
On the wing.
and be hit, and a little, no noise, but a little like a horn, beep, like that, looking black on the how hard was the hit. So I lay down there, and there is what they say when you're going to die, everything comes to your memory so fast, and you see your life going through there very fast and all that. Start thinking what to do.
Yeah.
If I start running, if I try to crack the engine and take off out of there. If I got my gun out and start fighting with these guys, and I didn't have any gun at all. So what to do?
Yeah.
Okay. And I remember I look at my glasses. This side of the glass was blew up, and so I just decided to go into the airplane again. So I jump, I grab into the airplane, and start cranking the airplane. Just put the master on,
Yeah.
and start cranking there. I never saw the rest of the people what had happened with them, but by the time I took off, they were already in the cockpit. Okay.
Yeah, I would
never
imagine so. Yeah.
I never invite them really to come in, but they were there. They put 5 bullets through the airplane, but somehow the angle of this guy that he was trying to kill us didn't have a right angle to shoot us on the cabin. He put some bullets through the wind and hit the engine, and some on the baggage compartment. I start cranking the engine, and I saw the fuel flow on the engine because I had the mixture on, the power level in the back. And finally, at the last moment, the engine went whoop, 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 and start. When I got the engine started, I already was sitting there. And believe me, I never forgot that. I never even wait for the engine finish start. I just put the mixture on, and I was on my takeoff roll already. Okay.
But this is interesting from a because this is obviously a hugely critical moment, and it's easy to panic in situations like that. But you were still as much there so that you could diagnose how the engine was doing, and that you had to do this, otherwise the engine wouldn't start. So you were very clear, even though you had essentially a bullet through your head.
After that, I started the takeoff roll. Okay. Like I say, this couple were there because these guys were a couple of young guys, 40s, with a young kid, 6 years old, 35, 40s. Yeah. And also, I took off and I stayed low. The lowest I can stay, I stay. And start getting in between trees and all that, getting away from there.
Yeah.
I say, if this guy can shoot me on the ground, they can shoot me on the air, So I try to not be on their side, on their fire side. So I start climbing like probably 2 or 3 miles away from the runway because When I took off, I just got the gear up, start flying the airplane, and like I say, I went in between some low level flying until I got far away so I cannot get hit by somebody.
Yeah.
So we were climbing, and the lady told the guy that I was hurt when we level off, radio in and telling them that I've been shot, that I'm flying back, and that I need some emergency equipment when I land.
What did the air traffic controller say when you radioed in that you've been shot and you were coming in for approach?
Oh, they say, okay, we're going to have the helicopter ready and the ambulance ready. And like I say, at those times, we start having a lot of traffic between cities here. And there were like 5 or 6 more airplanes on the air taking passengers from Ilopango Airport to this other city. Everybody start coming in the frequency and say, "How you doing? Hey, are you okay?" And then
Yeah.
But that time I didn't know how bad I was.
No,
I
no,
know
no.
I was bad because I can put my finger in my chip here and went all the way in. All the blood really bad. I was turning red. You are not going to be able to land this airplane when. And I say, don't worry, stay calm. I will do it. I'm feeling okay. But there's a situation that I look to his face and he looked at me. He got scared about my face when he saw me, and I got scared looking my face on his glasses.
Oh,
Then I knew that I really was, I really big. Okay.
so now you're coming in with this passenger who thinks that you're not going to be able to land. But does he want to try to what? But you're going to teach him how
He
to
did.
land.
He did. He grabbed the controls.
Yeah.
And he was getting really excited. And I say, hey, listen, don't do that because I need all the cam here to get to the airport and land the airplane because slow down, relax, we're going to make it.
Yeah.
Okay, we were 5 minutes from the airport, but when that happened, I land the airplane, taxi in, and I let them go out of the airplane first. And that was another fun thing because everybody that saw me when I was getting out of the airplane started getting, and you can see all the faces saying you're really bad,
Yeah.
And I got into the ambulancia, to the ambulance from here to the hospital. We were there on the ambulance, and the guy in the fire truck or whatever it was, he's sitting at the end of my bed, on the ambulance. Am I holding my hand here towards a grab that this thing had? And they were doing like 100 miles an hour on the highway from here to the hospital. And I told the lady that was with me in the ambulance, say, hey, tell those guys to slow down. I'm doing okay. Okay, we're going to crash or we're going to have something going to happen, and I don't want to be in an accident or an ambulance. I just had finished saying that, and this guy just make a really bad turn, and the ambulance went sideways with the braking and all that. So the door at the end of the ambulance opened. This guy that was sitting in my chair, in my bed, he fell out and he grabbed the door of the ambulance and he went and hit the door, the window this side. And my start getting out of the ambulance. And I'm holding here, and I'm holding here. Jesus Christ, I'm going away from the car. That was, I say, can you imagine I got out of the ambulance on a bus or a car hit me and that be dead? But that time.
That's unreal.
That was fun. That was fun. So after that, they continue, and we went to the hospital. And when I got to the hospital, everybody was, wow, guy. And so I started, no cellular phones at that time, okay? That was 82, January 1982. That's when that happened to me. So the really part that really mad at me and what happened and everything, because I say, okay, this is it. I won't be able to fly anymore. And I was thinking of that all the way down from the place where I got shot to the airport in the ambulance and when I got to the hospital.
Okay, so you were thinking about how you had lost your medical, that you wouldn't be able to fly anymore.
Yeah. That was really what really scared me. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I say, okay, this is it, and I won't be able to fly anymore and all that. So we went into the operation. It took 6 hours. And next morning, I knew by that time that I don't have my eye. I stayed in the hospital for another 3 days. So when I got out of the hospital, I went into my this friend that the teacher had to fly, and I say, okay, let's go fly. And he say, what? I say, let's go flying. I need to fly my airplane because I don't want nobody to take away my license. So I flew from there over to here and I'm going to do my flying today. So nobody can tell me anything that you need the exam or you need something to do. So I jump in my airplane and I taxi out and I flew a little bit and then I overshot the low pass by the tower and I did a roll on the mooney and I landed. And I say, okay, now nobody can tell me no, I cannot fly. So after that, I just went into the process of just settle down. The eye was really bad because the bullet blew all my chip inside. So I got all this blew up. So this prosthesis was kind of like if I turn around too fast, the prosthesis went out, and I start. It was like a really accommodation to that. As always, you gotta continue, you gotta be strong, you gotta say, okay, get over, physically, because everybody look at you with one eye, and emotionally saying, I have to do it, and but I got a good support from the company. The guys in the company told me that don't worry about it. If you cannot fly, you can continue working with us on the operational side of the company and so on, so on.
Yeah.
But after that, the guy in New Orleans, that was Captain Don Scott, he was the director of operation in the United States for our company, and also the Capitan Silva, that he was one of the senior guys in the company. They lent me a lot of support, and we went into the FAA and that all the paperwork there. And 3 months there after that, I got my medical certification with the special purpose certificate out of the United States that with no limitation at all.
And that's amazing. That was because your company basically came in and vouched for you and said, like, we've checked out.
Yeah. This Captain Scott, he used to know all the people in the FAA, and I went three medical exam in New Orleans, and then a couple of check rides in the airplane with the FAA guys. Took me flying, and after that they signed the paperwork, and they say you can go ahead and continue flying. When I went to get my top rating Capitan in Argentina, 86, nobody had got a Capitan license with one eye in Argentina at that time. So everybody starts saying, hey, how can we, extend a certification to this guy? He's one eye only. And from there on, it's been really funny because people all over the places, can you fly with one eye? I'm two eyes, and sometimes I have medical problems, and they don't let me fly with two eyes. How can you do it with one eye? So
that is one of the most common questions that came out of the comments field. Like, how come that I cannot have astigmatism or anything? on, and he can still keep his class 1 medical with only one eye. But what I think people don't understand is that once you're in the industry and you've had your class 1 medical for a while, they try to accommodate, they try to help you when you get into an accident, or even now in Ireland, for example, if you get the diabetes, you can actually keep your class 1 medical, providing that you do certain medical checks and things like that. So
right. You get the ability demonstration, telling them or let them know that there is no problem for you to fly.
correct.
I'm doing aerobatics and I'm doing air shows and I'm doing training and all that, and I haven't had any problem.
Only with one
So
eye.
that keep only with one eye, yeah.
It's incredible. It's an incredible story. It's worthy of a movie in itself. And we haven't even started talking about the actual flight of TACA 110.
Everybody was excited about it.
Of course.
Brand new. I don't know if you know that was my second time that I sit in that airplane when that emergency happened.
Yeah, I heard. I in my research I saw a little bit about that. And I would love to hear, because you flew them 2 consecutive days, and this happened on the second day, didn't it?
Yeah, the first day the battery was dead, and we had to cancel the flight.
And
that's something really amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. So you flew over you were doing supposed to do the same route 2 days in a row from San Salvador to Belize and then over to New Orleans.
New Orleans.
So what happened on the first day?
On the first day, we land in Belize. By the time we're getting ready to go out of Belize, impossible to start the engines.
As in, it would turn, or it wouldn't.
Yeah, it didn't turn. We tried one way. We even opened the valves manually, and here and there with the APU, with the external power. So we had to cancel the flight there, and we stayed there. And maintenance came in with another flight into Belize, and they changed the battery on the airplane, and we were able to ferry the airplane from Belize to El Salvador that afternoon.
Okay.
So I asked them, "Hey, what was the problem? Maintenance." I say, "Yeah, the battery were no good. So there is an auto protection, I guess, from the airplane." So that was a lucky thing that happened to us, because can you imagine what it will be us in the middle of thunderstorm and we're not able to start the APU?
Yeah. Not to mention the standby instrumentation.
Or the standby instrumentation not to work.
Yeah,
I'd be history by now.
It would have been a dead bird. Yeah, and that's another thing. I mean, I fly on the 200 now. We have 2 batteries, so you have a little bit more redundancy. But the 300 only had 1. So if that one goes and there's no ram air turbine or anything like that, that's no electrics.
Kiss each other and say goodbye. That's it.
pretty much. So okay, so you flew back, you ferried the aircraft back. You have new fresh batteries in it now, and then you're supposed to fly the same route again, but from San Salvador to Belize to New Orleans the second day.
Right. Yeah.
Now on a planning stage, did you see that there was going to be a lot of storms over around New Orleans?
No. We got all the paperwork out of here. Was okay, Belize. From Belize over there, they say expecting some thunderstorms and all that. Regular kind of flying, is like I say, you notice we took off. Was the newest airplane, the latest version in the company. Everybody was excited about it. My co-pilot, he's a good announcer, and he passed away last year.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and the other guy that was with me, SULLY, that was in the back, he passed away like 3 or 4 months ago too. So I'm the only one alive that it was on the cockpit.
So let's say then, okay, so you take off from Belize and then you start towards New Orleans. Let me know, how was the flight? How was the feeling amongst passengers, crew?
Beautiful flight, beautiful weather, and everybody happy about it. And so this Nicho come in and say, "Hey, Captain, you let me call and invite some of the passengers to visit the cockpit so they can see the cockpit, how nice it is and how good it is, and all this new technology and all that. So I say, yeah, okay, let's do it. That was a little fun.
I love.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first officer talking from the cockpit and the permission of the captain. We invite you to come and see and take some pictures. So we spent some time and everybody came in. 36 passengers. It wasn't that bad. So I make a joke to them because we say this is the latest technology and all that, and the trip they got to do it on a bus to the airport because we didn't land at the airport on the best airplane ever had been made.
Yeah, but see,
But,
that's why I try never to say those things at all. Like it's like if I flew with the first officer yesterday, and he's like, today is going to be an easy day, and I was like, no, don't even say.
yeah. Be careful what you say.
Yeah.
And the slogan of the company used to say, "You fly on TACA," like a movie picture like that. It used to. So everybody was joking about that. This is a kind of like a bad movie, exciting movie or whatever it is.
Like,
Your experience in TACA flying is like going to the movie. Something like that was what the slogan of the company.
Okay, so you were pilot flying on the flight, yeah?
Yeah. I was the one
monitoring,
flying.
and then you had Arturo in the back doing monitoring of the
Arturo in the back. He used to be the check right, the instructor for the airplane. He said, "Well, I'm going over there. I'm going to check you guys and see how you're doing, okay?" But he wasn't on an official flight, really.
Okay, so
Okay. And there was another captain there that he was in the cockpit when this happened, but he was just standing there behind the jump seat. Okay.
So there was like
because he was a passenger also.
Okay. Okay, so right, so you're finding yourself at 30,000 feet, and you're preparing for the approach in towards New Orleans. When did you start to see that there was some thunderstorm activity ahead of you?
When we were getting ready to start the descent, I guess, or coming into the descent, we saw all this a line of thunderstorms between this place and New Orleans. So we start requesting deviation to the east, I guess it was, to the east, and getting around the thunderstorm. That it was a funny thing because they never told us the strong thunderstorms and all that they were building. The information behind their desk or something like that happened. And this is part of the investigation why we never were told of the potential thunderstorms and all that.
Yeah.
But anyway, he say the control say, okay, TACA 110, you clear for descent, and whenever you clear to New Orleans, and so on. But anyway, like I was around these buildings, this built thunderstorm, and look to the radar. I mean, this is a really, really good radar and all that. But that was a brand new radar. That was a brand new day. That was the first time we touched the radar, and nobody has told us how to use it. Matter of fact, it was the first one of colors because we used to have just the green ones.
True.
Okay.
It's the first time you see a color screen of weather.
Color screen. When we were around those cumulus, the bigger one, the really big one was in the back of that one. So by the time we got there, just coming in between the clouds and going down, I had the NTIs put on, and when I decided to go in between those Charlie Bravos, I called the guys in the back and I say, hey guys, sit down because we probably get some turbulence. And that saved life, I guess, because if they've been not sit when that happened, they probably break their something, I mean, that's so bad. So we got up to 3 Gs bumping in the airplane from the turbulence. That was really bad. And when we were there, I slowed the speed down to 250 also on the descent. But the time we turned around and we got, let's say, on the backside of the Charlie Bravo that I was there, we start getting some rain and start getting really bad rain. And has a magic, the screen of the radar turns magenta. But guess what? We didn't know what was that. I said, what's wrong with this radar? It turned magenta. Magenta was the weather ahead. Okay, because
Before,
nobody has told us anything about operational on that radar and all that, you know.
so for the viewers that are watching this now, like I've explained this a little bit on the video, that green is kind of light, then you get orange, which
Right.
is a little bit worse, then you get red, which is bad. Magenta means that you also have severe turbulence. Magenta is
You're
red,
dead.
red
You're dead.
fumes, right? It's bad,
But
very
there wasn't nothing I can do at that time.
no, because you had already
Okay.
turned around the corner and you were in
So
between.
by that time, I say we're going to take out the paint out of this airplane, paint off this airplane. The probably next 10 seconds or whatever, with that big thunderstorms coming in, that we feel like we hit something. It was that bad. Okay. And the we have a lighting hit the airplane or feel like it in that window,
Yeah.
that we have like a big explosion, and automatically both engines went out and the airplane started like a horse jumping all over the place, going up, going down. In the cockpit, you know, horns and here, moony, all that kind of thing that you never knew.
Yeah.
On the instrument was with the flags off,
Yeah.
up, and I said, what? The horizon was upside down. The airspeed was 320. There was any heading, and so I go, okay, this is bad. We lost all the electricity on the airplane, lost all the instruments on the airplane, all the alarms in the cockpit that start coming in. The other guys were yelling at me. One of the guys in the back, I remember he said, the speed, and all that. And I look around and I make my screaming the instruments. I say, no, this is really bad. So I went back to the horizon, standby horizon.
Yeah.
Back to basics.
That's the basics.
Keep level.
Yeah.
And for me, as a pilot, that was the worst time in all the emergency. Because if I had lost that airplane in that condition, for whatever reason, the turbulence, we'll be dead. Because there was any way to control the airplane if I go upside down or whatever. So for me to keep the calm and say, and that standby horizon, they used to have one for the airspeed, little small one, and one for the other was airspeed and heading or whatever it was. And then I start feeling the airplane goes really slow on the jog, because without a hydraulic, you were flying the airplane really, really hard, you know.
Yeah.
But then when some way, I guess I lost some speed or whatever, I start feeling the airplane low, easy. And then I put some power and I yelled to the guys. I said, we lost the engine. I went back on the power and did it again. Both of the guys say, like, you're joking, man. I say, no, guys, we lost the engines. So that's when I got the quick reference. And I went back and I say, Arturo, start the engines. Even though there wasn't any checklist.
No.
Okay.
And that's also crazy. Because up until this point, there was no dual engine failure checklist.
No, at all. So he started doing that. He jumped from the seat and we were all over the place, like I say, you know, and he started cranking the APU.
Did he try to do a windmill start to start with, or did he went straight for the APU?
We went straight. I say APU.
Good.
I say APU. I never told him we're going to try to start the engines. We didn't have time. We were 16,000 feet. We don't have time to be playing with the engines. We need power back.
Of course.
All right. So he started the engines. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah,
we started.
I know that you told them to. I didn't know which one of them who did it. I know you were flying and they were dealing with the checklists.
Yeah. So I keep just flying myself, keeping the airplane in control, flying the airplane. Once in a while, I look at them and look up there, but I just until we got the APU back in on the line, and then we were so lucky that he turned in the right side bus.
Yeah.
On the APU bus. So finally, we got the electricity back, and we got the radio and so on. So I said, Nicho, radio in. and tell them that we're lying down and we need some vectors
Yeah.
and the weather for different airports and all that. So we did all that. That was the first time. And Arturo say, okay, we started number one. We got engine number one. And okay, engine number two. The girls come in and I told them to prepare for crash landing or emergency landing or whatever it was. That's the way it was in the company, that the co-pilot keep all the frequencies on his side all the time. And we kept the frequency for the company in number one radio. So when the APU come in and when we lost the engines, we just have number one radio working.
Correct.
For frequency. But because we used to have just the frequency for the airliner, we didn't remember that. And we were able to talk on the number two radio.
That makes sense now. I because I was thinking about that. Well, obviously there was a lot of stuff going on, and I mean we aviate, navigate, communicate. So communication would have come last anyway. But so because you had company frequency on com 1 and now com 2.
Nobody remember. Nobody. But the time we got the electrical power, yes, we recovered the radios, and then on his side, because it wasn't any automatic frequency change from this side, the cockpit side, to the captain side. By the time we recovered the engines, we were 5,000 feet.
Yeah.
I say, okay, told them that we have recovered the engines and that we requesting vectors to New York. So when they say, okay, maintain 5,000 feet, continuing ahead, in, I don't remember, it was probably 360 comes to my mind every time that I talk about it. And I say, okay. And when I add some power, all the fire alarms came on immediately on both of the engines. Okay. We don't have N1 rotation.
So the engine had ceased, or the engines was stopped completely. Frozen.
So you have combustion. You have engine started inside, but it wasn't any rotation of the turbine outside, at least. Okay.
So no flow
So
through.
when I add the power, all the engines started heating up. So I went back on the throttles. They never stopped all the alarms and all that. So I shut it down. That's when I turned back and I said, Arturo, okay, now you better sit and have this your seatbelts on, because now we're going to crash. I called the girls in the back, and that's when you hear Nicho on the second that goes again. TACA 110, we have lost one engine, no, sir, two engines. That's when I get the radio and I say, we're gliding down, and I don't think we're going to make it. But I was meaning we're going to make it to any airport or whatever.
Yeah.
But that time, we coming out of the clouds. And I look around me, and New Orleans is almost water all over the place. It was something that is always been telling me, go there, go there, go there. So I never changed my glide slope, let's put it that way, okay? A long approach. I don't know if you believe in God or whatever, but that day when I was in the middle of when everything first happened, when we were in the thunderstorm and we lost all the instruments and all that, I just closed my eyes and say, God, please help me and let me see where I'm going to crash. That was all that I needed, let me see where is this thing going. And something is on you that you don't get scared and you don't get into panic. So but when I saw the ground and I was gliding and I start pulling back and I put my glide speed and all that, I got for some reason I saw that little canal. It was, I don't know, 10 miles, 50 miles away from where we were. And I say, okay, there, we're going there. And something was pulling me to that place. And that's when the miracle happened, because when we finished the glide, we never changed the course. We never changed the glide radio on the airplane. Never. Until Nicho told me, hey, we can land there. So I just had to move to this side, make a little and land.
And that's interesting. Was the levee that you ultimately landed on, that was a little bit closer than what you had originally maintained, wasn't it? So you ended up a little bit high in order to get into the...
Well, let's say that it were parallel to, but on the canal, I have the canal, but it was a bridge at the end.
Okay.
And on the canal, I knew I was going to use 5 of the flaps gear up, and I knew that I just need to grease it in, in the water.
Yes.
But the time that Nicho told me, then I had to get the landing gear out, get it slow down, flap full, and try to not land on the runway, land on the taxiway. Let's put it that way.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, the parallels here to the Gimli glider and what those guys did when they came in, and they also did a side slip in order to lose altitude. That, I think a lot of people react to that when they hear it. It's like, oh, he side slipped as well. But like you're saying, you know where you want to set the aircraft down, and
because when we saw that Nicho say, I said the landing gear won't come out because I had number 200 on my mind.
Oh, because they had the 200. Yeah.
And Arturo said, yeah, it will. I say, okay, gear down. So he came from the back and he threw the gear down.
And this is important because this is teamwork. This is like you guys, you have an idea. Your first officer comes up with another idea. You find that is a better solution, and then you have the third guy coming in.
Right. I mean, we did professional working with that way.
Yeah.
and the rest of the thing, I say, okay, that's when I made the little turn on the side slip, and I remember how the power level of the speed brake were my power level.
Yeah.
Okay? And I made it straight to the end of that levee, and I remember that it went a little bit like that, and when we were flaring like that, Nicho called me, be careful with the wingtip. Okay, and I start talking to the airplane. I got you, baby. I got you, baby. She just greased it in, man. That was really nice. And Nicho, we just touch him down, and he's jumping, laughing, like that, And I haven't stopped the airplane yet. And he just, we made it, man. We were crop duster pilots. We know how to do it, and all that kind of bullshit, I say, okay, nice. And wait. So here's another funny thing. We stopped the airplane, and I grabbed the PA because I want to do the evacuation. We did the evacuation. There's another funny thing happened there. The girls had told the passengers on the first line, okay, you're going to be the first one to get out of the airplane. So when I announced the evacuation, the girl opened the door, and when she was opening the door and getting to the side, the toboggan started getting inflated.
Yeah.
But the passenger, the lady, didn't wait for the call. So she jumped, okay? And she jumps. So I'm here in the cockpit looking through the window, and I see the toboggan doing this and the lady flying.
Just jumping at the same time as the slide is being.
So lucky that they land together. Can you believe that?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, understandable as well. I mean, I'm guessing that most people just wanted to get out at that point.
Yeah, but I guess the lady never saw or never wait for the call.
No.
That probably the stewards has told him, when I told you, you're going to be the first one going out.
Yeah.
She opened the door and they will say, okay, this is my way out. Just jump away.
Up you go. It is an amazing story. So what happened after the evacuation then?
No, it started raining. I mean, the rain catch us and it started raining really bad. So everybody evacuate and all that. And I say, hey, hold it. I mean, I don't go and get wet. Let's let them go. Let's close the doors in the airplane and we stay here until the rain goes away.
I heard that on the other interview that I used as a research for the video, and I was laughing so hard when I heard that, because I could just imagine the people outside like this, and
hey, and they it's like a movie, they calling us, come on, the airplane blew up and all that. And I say, but you know what? We didn't read the checklist.
Right.
So we didn't pull the circuit breakers that you're supposed to pull for the flyer and all that. So there's another funny thing. The rain came in and all that, the quicks, and I grab my things, and I slide down, with the baggage and everything. And you can see a picture of me with the uniform on on the slide. Very professional with both of, with the flying kid and all that. But anyway, I got out of the airplane. A helicopter, a marine helicopter is coming in. And he's asking, who's the captain here? Uh-oh, they looking for me, okay? What I did. So he comes, you captain? Yes, sir. I said, yes, sir, like that, you know. And he goes, right. Hey, man, that was really well done. My legs went like that. It really scared. But the other thing that had happened, and nobody knows much about it, that I got into this place, and as soon as I got there were two FAA inspectors in the place, and they called, Capitan, I need your license, just like that.
Yeah.
I said, I need my lawyer. I need my lawyer. And I call operation, and he said, what? What are they doing there? This is just happened. How can they be there? So they come back to me and they say, you know what? We need to go to the airplane. I say, why? You're not supposed to touch the airplane. The airplane is on under investigation. There is an incident. No, we FAA. I say to the captain there, can we go there? And he say, okay, do whatever they want to do. And we went to the airplane. We cranked the APU. They want to see is we have fuel on board. That was it.
Of course.
Because they told me you lost, you run out of fuel, and that's why you had to make this. And that's why we lost half of the flight recorder. The last minutes where you can hear them, but the first 20 minutes, because they make me start the APU, we haven't done the checklist of pulling the breakers. And that.
Yeah. So to explain that to people, if you don't like, basically we have a set number of minutes that the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder will record. And if
remember at that time was 30 minutes, the recording time on the right now is 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. So normally it's 2 hours now, but it was 30 minutes, which meant that if you would have pulled the CVR circuit breaker, everything would be kept. But since that wasn't done, when they started the APU, the recorder started again and it started overwriting the first bit of
right.
It. Yeah.
Right.
It's yeah, that was very unfortunate.
So that's a story about that.
Yeah, but that I like the story is amazing, and there's a couple of things that I want that when I was researching the video, I immediately highlighted. Number one was you got into the storm cell and everything was breaking loose around you with all of the bells and whistles and horns and alarms and everything going wrong. What you did was what we teach people when they start flying, which is fly the aircraft, find an attitude, keep it wings level, keep the speed under control, do not stall it, fly it, which is exactly what
I didn't have any speed. I didn't have any way of vertical speed or air speed or whatever, but wings level. That was it.
Yeah,
wings level.
So
I know if I can have the wings level, that I can have the airplane flying.
Correct. And that's what I like immediately. That's what I reacted to. Like, okay, yeah, all of this is going on. If you make the wrong decisions, then if you make the wrong prioritizations and you lose control over that, then you can lose control of the aircraft.
That'd be it. You lose the airplane there.
That'd be it. The second thing that I thought about was the way that you guys worked together in the cockpit when it was time that you continued to fly the aircraft. You had Arturo and your first officer trying to deal with the problem, trying to get the engine started again. And once that didn't work, eventually, you kept working together to try to find a solution to the problem, which is also crucial because you can get on, if you're in the captain's seat, I know it, you can get into that world of, okay, I'm gonna try to do this now and forget.
Yeah, because when Nicho comes and he say, hey, there we can land, I already have my mind to ditch the airplane. But I look at it, I see it was okay, and then I say the landing gear won't come out, and then Arturo say, yeah, will be. So I took his recommendation and proceeded in half a second, and I took Nicho's consideration, and I say, okay, we can do it. Let's do it. That was a teamwork. Yep. How about this? I say, no, I'm the captain. We just going into the water.
That's what I was hoping to get out of the video. Like this is why I do these videos, these air crash investigations, because there's always key learning things that you can get out of it, not only for our industry, but for other industries as well. I mean, the way that you guys worked as a team in this situation can be used for people working in a power plant or for medical professionals as well. When you get into a tight spot, into a crisis, how do you prioritize, and do you use all the available resources to you?
You know, when we lost, when we were that we had to shut down the engines again, and then the flight attendant came in and she looked at me and she said, "Hey, Charlie, what's going on?" Because we're friends. Carlos, what? And I said, "It's really serious. Go and sit down." And she knew from that point that that was going to be a really bad situation, but we already know what to expect. In between, that was a communication at that time between the backs, the girls, and the teamwork that you say.
Yep.
All the way that they did their work and everything. Never, ever, nobody has asked us anything about it. And I think that's I don't know, that's probably, I've been giving some speeches sometimes and all that. You believe that they have everything in the company, and more now that they sold the company to another company. You don't even get to, nobody knows who you are, nobody cares, nobody, and there is a jealousy, professional jealousy that you feel.
Yeah,
you know,
there is
amazing.
There is a bit of that, I'm sure, but the interesting thing now is that this story is actually becoming more and more known as the years goes by. Like there's several, and I'm guessing that it's going to get even more attention, because these are the kind of stories that people love to hear. Good teamwork under very hard conditions where the outcome is positive. You know, it has everything in it.
Don't lose it. You don't lose it.
A question though, how was this handled when it came to the investigation, the NTSB, the FAA, your own company and stuff? How was it like in SULLY, in the movie, where you just be put in a tribunal?
Don't believe it, but it was the same way.
Yeah.
The only thing that here nobody have heard, nobody, the airplane was in one piece, and they have some historical bad thing about the engine that is already been failing on weather that engine 2 or 3 times before us.
Yeah.
But yes, we have the accident incident on Tuesday, I believe it was. We stay in New Orleans. They separate us, all right?
Yeah.
Like we were the big ones, the really bad ones. We cannot talk to the flight attendants. We cannot talk to each other, and they make us do their reports, our reports, right away. And we did all the reports. We did that, and we went into a couple of sections with the FAA and TSB, all those guys, the lawyers from the company, the lawyers from the Boeing, the lawyers from the Indians. There was a bunch of people over there, you know.
Yeah.
And yes, we have to do that. And they close basics, all the investigation and everything right there until they let us go to El Salvador on Saturday. This is another amazing thing. I got to El Salvador on Saturday. I'm with my wife, you know, she was expecting my second child and everything. Call operation, you got to fly on Monday.
No way.
Say, what? Yeah, you got to go flying on Monday. You better get in the airplane so you don't get scared. I say, okay. So that's all the training. Are you okay? You need some vacation? Can we do something for you? You know, you need to stay with your family a couple of days, relax, go vacation 1 week, and then come back. No, you gotta go work on Monday.
Oh.
So that I went work on Monday. Huh? Do you believe that? I mean,
no, that's insane.
Right away. Get back to work. We need you.
Oh, that's amazing. I have a few questions that some of my followers have brought in. If you don't mind, I would like to ask a few of them to see what you say. Okay, so we've got a guy here called Olivier Steiner, and he's saying, I do not have any particular question for the gentleman, as there is nothing questioned about his heroic deeds in that flight and previously, and taking my hat off for him. Massive respect, except maybe one thing. Does he have any special tips for this level of cool and focus in such outrageous, stressful situations? Something many people could learn from in everyday situations. Like, how do you keep your cool, basically?
Well, I don't know if you have tips for. It's a natural kind of thing that happened because when I got shot, uh, even though I was getting ready to die because I knew they can come and be close to the airplane and just come in the cockpit and shut us down. And, I didn't know how many they were and where were they.
Yeah.
And if it is in a moment, I will have this guy just put a bullet through our head or whatever. I don't know. If you have a tip, just like I told my students and all my flying and all that, first of all, relax.
Take a brief breath.
Human bodies, when you are in some kind of fight or some kind of emergency or something, you lose your ability. Somebody say by 70% or whatever. It's. So I just told everybody, just relax. First of all, relax. And you notice that when you teaching people how to do a feather engine on the airplane, first of all, realize what kind of fail you have in the engine. From the beginning, I took some karate lessons all my juventud from 12 years old until I was 25. And part of when you fighting is that you have to really get the relax and the controlling of your body and of your mind. When you're fighting with your wife, you have to have control too.
Especially that.
That's the word. That's the word. You better have a good control there. Stay under control. Stay controlled. That's the issue really. It's hard. Yes, it's hard.
Take a deep breath, concentrate, and think before acting. It's probably a good.
Hi, Captain. My name's David. I can't believe that I get to ask you a question. How did your flight instructors react when they learned of your legendary landing? I'm currently in flight school myself, and I like to wonder how my flight instructor might one day talk about me. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, they say, but since I've been flying from so long back, my flying instructor, he told me how to do the aerobatics and all that, but in the company, no comments.
No feedback.
Yeah, no. I got comments from people like you. I got comments from all over the world. One time we were at Denver doing some training, and a couple of guys, 5 guys, if I recall it right, they come into the cafeteria and they say, "You Carlos Dardano?" I say, "Yes." What I did, And he said, "Hey, man, we just like to thank you for what you did, for what has come out of that. I think the commercial airliner business is safer because you guys got that out of the way. And all the things that we learned from that accident on making the checklist, doing the procedures, what the company did to the engines and all that. And have you done the emergency the way you did? My respect to you. We honored to know you. Hey, you can get there and you can have that almost every time. Sometimes you flying and passenger, hey, you're the one, Yeah. And I say, yes, I am. Can I take a picture? Yes.
Yeah, we have better CFM 56 engines because of it. We have new checklists because of it. We have more the guidance for people who fly into heavy rain and into, well, at least until they had fixed the engines, there was some guidance coming out. So there were a lot of safety improvements that came out of this incident.
It's up to the point that I do have my flying school. I used to be a director of operation for the airline. I used to be check airman. I used to be ferry pilot. They put me out of all of those things with a new administration that came in another country.
A really important thing that I want to ask you about, because I know that you've been working on a children's book about your life and what has, transpired, what has happened. Can you tell me a little bit about that project?
Well, that project came in because this lady, Isabel Barrientos, just happened to know my story. and she put everything together and started looking for me. And finally, we met each other, and she said, "Hey, Captain, I like to make this and this and that." And I say, "Okay, you think you can, have something? Can you sell those books after that?" I mean, and she said, "Yes, it's a really good story. It's a good uh, material we have there, and we can do it, and so on, so on." So she push it that far away that yes, we got these books. One is in English and one is in Spanish. It's a really nice little book
Born to
that
Fly.
is just coming into the market.
Yeah. As soon as, if you have any links or anything to that, I'm going to put that in the description of the video so people can click on it if they want to find a good aviation book for their children. It's great. One
Yeah.
more question: Are you still flying? Are you still operating in your airline?
Yeah. 40 years in the airline. I had two and a half more years to go.
How many hours? How many hours do you have at the moment?
I don't know. You know what? I never kept a tracking on that. Never, ever. And even when I was a student, my wife used to keep the logbook on what the payment received from the flying and all that. Then whatever the airlines kept on tracking.
Yeah.
But we fly in the airline like 85 hours a month. I fly myself. Teaching and air shows and all that and other things. So 40 years in the airline plus 5 years, 6 years before that, I don't know.
I'm asking because there was another question. The question were basically like, when did he retire? And I answered like, I don't know. Oh, he's very much still flying. And you're flying with your son, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, because he's co-pilot.
That's cool. That's
it's different. The SULLY case, he probably got some money for retire.
Yeah.
I need to fly all the rest of the days that I need to fly to. I can barely made it. Is the company never ever gave me nothing at all.
You need to get up. You need to
so
get up.
we gotta go to 65. We gotta go to 65. I need to continue. Oh yeah, I will do it for free anyway. Oh yeah, I will keep flying the rest of my life. I'm not planning to live the flying, not at all. This is like I say, I dream with it, and I'm lucky that I have this work. I love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I go into Tegucigalpa airport. I don't know if you have heard about Tegucigalpa in Honduras. I go in at least 10 times a month over there because they just send me over there every day. But hey, I like it. I love it. I mean, it's flying what I like. I don't. They asked me one time, what is the hardest thing you have to do when you're going flying? And I told them, get to the cockpit of the airplane, deal with reports, deal with management, deal with all that kind of thing. When I jump in the airplane, I close the door. Hey, I start feeling good. I start feeling that this is right.
Yeah, that's
fun,
It's something that I think a lot of us recognize as well. That once you get behind the stick, once you start flying, that's really what we live for. And it's lovely to hear as well that you feel that way when it's 2 years to retirement and you've been flying your whole life. Anyway, Carlos,
that's the way it goes.
That's all the questions I had. Do you have any tips for new pilots? Anything that you would like to get out there to the world?
Well, yes, I would like to tell everybody, that don't get lazy, don't get in comfort of the flying. Keep flying, keep your styles, keep your training, and keep flying manually the airplanes. If they don't let you do it in the airline, try to do it somewhere else. But if you like, and you are the kind of pilot that take an automatic or usual attitudes, kind of like training, and just keep yourself safe. Because I like I say, have people in the airline that we take off and we reach 200 feet, and they push the autopilot, and they don't disconnect the autopilot until we got to minimum. And sometimes it's hard for them to push those buttons. And I say, hey guys, you haven't done flying more than 1 minute on this flight. Okay. They don't even keep the hands on the throttles or on the jack because they know the airplane doing everything automatic. Yes, automatization is okay. They don't know how to brake the airplane because they always using the auto brake. Okay. And things like that is the airliners went, or the industry went too much into automatization, that, and they like to see that. I mean, the companies like to see that because they think this is so easy that any robot can do it in the future. But even the military guys had to fly the robots from wherever they are, you know. You have to have somebody behind the controls all the time. The way that everything is going to be automatically.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that what you said in the very beginning there is really, really good, which is keep training, keep yourself skilled. And if you can't do it within the airline, well, then do it at your own time or pace. Keep yourself safe so that you know that if something happens, you have the skills required to take the aircraft.
Right.
Carlos, I want to say a huge thank you for you to taking this interview. It's been a real pleasure. I'm so happy that you enjoyed the video that I made about it, and I'm even more happy to hear your own words and your version about the events.
Oh, the thank you is from me, man. I mean, it's amazing that you take all that time to look into this. And thank you. We keep in touch. I'm here, and I hope I can meet each other one of these days up there. If I go on vacation over there, or you decide to come over here or whatever.
If you're
very nice to get to meet you in person.
Absolutely. If you're in the Barcelona area, let me know. And if I'm ever even in Central America, I will definitely let you know. Thank you very much once again. And yeah, we'll keep in touch.
Okay. Nice. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Bye.